لقد بدأنا بفضل الله رب العالمين شهر مبارك، شهر عظمه الله عز وجل في كتابه، وكذاك عظمه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. والله عز وجل كما يقول قتادة يخلق ما يشاء ويفضل ما شاء في أي وقت شاء. فإن الله عز وجل لما خلق الخلق اصطفى منهم الملائكة، ثم لما أراد أن يخلق البشر اصطفى منهم الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم اصطفى من هؤلاء أولو العزم الخمسة، ثم اصطفى منهم الخليلان محمد وإبراهيم، ثم اصطفى محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم دون خلقه كلهم. واصطفى الله عز وجل الأيام وفضلها بعضها على بعض، فجعل الله عز وجل يوم الجمعة خير أيام الأسبوع، وشهر رمضان هو أفضل شهر في العام، فيه ليلة هي خير من 1000 شهر، وشهر الله المحرم من أفضل أيام السنة، وعشر من ذي الحجة، وعشر الأخيرة من رمضان، وهذه العشر الأول من شهر محرم، بل محرم كله. والله عز وجل يصطفي ويفضل ويكرم بفضله وكرمه. Today, inshallah, we have started one of the sacred months of the year that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen. As Qatada radiallahu anhu said about the ayah when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا في كتاب الله. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the counted months is 12, meaning returned to be 12 months, because the kuffar of Mecca have changed the order of the months. Allah said when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent that verily the year returned to be 12 complete months. When Allah created, since Allah created heaven and earth, منها 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم. Allah said among these 12 months there are 4 sacred months that you should not commit any sin or wrongdoing in them. Do not cause transgression against yourself. Do not be unjust to yourself in these months. Qatada radiallahu anhu said, verily when Allah spoke about the 12 months, He has chosen the 4 months and He has emphasized not to commit a sin, wrongdoing, any mistake, or anything that disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in them. And Allah chooses the days, the months, the years, people, places, and give it a certain virtues, and this is the choice and the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah chose the angels, Allah made Jibreel to be the prophet to the prophets. And when Allah chose to create humans, He chose among them the prophets and messengers. And from the prophets and messenger, Allah chose the 5 best. And then from them, Allah have chosen 2 prophets to be the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ibrahim and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And from these 2, Allah have chosen Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and giving him the virtue to be the best among all of His creation. And Allah chooses whom He wants. Allah chooses and creates the days and the nights, and He chooses Laylatul Qadr, the night of destiny, the night of power, to be the best night among all nights. And Allah chooses the month of Ramadan to be the best month. And then Allah chooses the last 10 days from Ramadan to be the best days, and the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah to be the best days, and the month of Muharram to be the most sacred, the best month after the month of Ramadan to do any ibadah and to stay away from any sin. Shahrullah al-Muharram. Allah has called the month which we are in now the month of Allah. When Allah adds a name to the name of Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending a message to us, to those who understand, to those who think. Allah is saying that this place, this name that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has added to its name subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah's name, is very important. Very significant that you must take care of. When Allah created Al-Kaaba, He called it the house of Allah. When Allah created the camel of Salih to be a sign for His people, Allah called it Naqatullah, the camel of Allah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the months, He chose the month of Muharram and He called it Shahrullah, the month of Allah. The significance of the name comes because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has added that name to the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah said Al-Kaaba, the house of Allah, therefore that area is sacred, you cannot commit or do any wrong in such an area because it's the area of Allah especially. The masajid, the mosques on earth are the masajid of Allah, the houses of Allah that we must take care of. We worship Allah in, we must respect, not commit any wrong in it. Therefore, this month is the same thing. Allah called it Shahrullah. قال ابن كثير رحمه الله: وفعل الذنب يكون معظما في هذا الشهر وغيره من الأشهر الحرم لأن الله عز وجل قد اختصه من دون الشهور بذلك وكذلك الأجر فيه يكون مضاعفا. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said that the sin will be multiplied and the sin will be considered larger or bigger than any sin that is committed in any other month besides the months that Allah has made sacred. And the ibadah, the worship, the good actions, the good deeds, the reward of it will be multiplied and will increase if the person does it in these sacred months. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and this is some of the acts that we could do in such a month. روى البخاري من حديث ابن عباس رضي الله عنه قال: ما رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يصوم شهرا كاملا أو شهرا قط بعد رمضان إلا شهر الله المحرم. The first act, الصيام, the fasting. Ibn Abbas said, narrated by Bukhari rahimahullah, that I have not seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam fasting any month after the month of Ramadan like I have seen him fasting the month of Muharram. So if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were to complete any month in fasting, it will be the month of Muharram that we are in now. Rasulullah would increase the ibadah of fasting. Why? Fasting is one of the ibadah, one of the worship that is between you and Allah. That only Allah knows the complete reward of fasting. That the ibadah you do it sincere from your heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fasting is a shield between you and hellfire. Fasting is a shield between you and the sins. Fasting is a shield between you and doing anything wrong. So if you have a shield between you and the sins, it's better to use and take advantage of during such a month, because the sin will be multiplied. So the Prophet ﷺ taught the ummah how to control themselves, how to use their time, how to take an advantage of the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that this month is sacred, and then people are not paying attention to it. People are not using that time wisely. People are not using the time useful. Such a month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam showed the importance of it, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the companion respected in a way that they increased their ibadah and their worship in such a month. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast in the month of Muharram, a specific day that he never left, not before Islam and not after Islam. Even the period before Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast the 10th of Muharram of every year. Not only that, but the kuffar of Mecca used to also fast the 10th of Muharram. Not only that, but some of the Christians, they used to fast such a day. The Yahud of Medina, they used to fast the 10th of Muharram of every year. قال ابن حجر رحمه الله: وفي هذا دليل أنهم كانوا يستخدمون الشهور العربية، وذاك أمر مقرر بالصيام، لأن الشهر أو اليوم العاشر من شهر محرم لا يثبت إلا بدخول الهلال أولا. ثانيا أن كفار مكة كانوا يصومون هذا اليوم تعظيما له، ولعل هذا من بقايا دين إبراهيم عليه السلام. ثالثا كانت اليهود تصوم اليوم العاشر من شهر محرم لأنه يوم فاضل عندهم، قالوا فيه يوم نجى الله عز وجل فيه موسى وقومه من فرعون وأغرقه. رابعا قال الإمام أحمد: وكانوا يصومون العاشر من شهر محرم لأنه اليوم الذي استوت فيه سفينة موسى على الجودي. The virtue of that day, the 10th of Muharram, which will be, insha'Allah, this Monday, this coming Monday. The 10th of Muharram, the Prophet ﷺ fasted that day before Islam, after Islam. Before Allah revealed to him and after the revelation. Why? Because the people of Mecca, they consider that day to be a significant day. Ibn Hajar said, and Allah knows the best, the reason behind that this might be from some of the footsteps of the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam that they're still following. The people of Mecca, they believed in Ibrahim alayhi salam, and they followed his religion. Then the religion became corrupted, and they used the idols, and they committed shirk, worshipping partners with Allah. But maybe this is one of the acts that is left from the religion of Ibrahim. The Jews and the Christians, they fasted that day because this is the day that they considered that Allah saved Musa and his people from the Pharaoh, and he had drowned Fir'aun and his people on that day, the 10th of Muharram. The 10th of Muharram is the day when the ark of Nuh alayhi salam was settled after everyone was drowned on the 10th of Muharram. So this day has something special to it. Therefore, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast that day. But when he went to Medina, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saw that the Jews and the Christians, that they are celebrating in that day. Hadith narrated by Bukhari قال: رأى رسول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يهود المدينة يحتفلون بالعاشر من شهر محرم فسألهم قال لماذا تعظمون هذا اليوم؟ أي يوم هذا؟ قالوا إنه اليوم الذي نجى الله فيه موسى من فرعون. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم نحن أحق بموسى منهم. نحن أحق بموسى منهم. وأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم الصحابة أن يصوموا ذلك اليوم، فصامه النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وأصحابه حتى مات رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. When the Prophet came to Medina, hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, he said that he found the Jews celebrating in the day of the 10th of Muharram. Their women would wear gold, their kids will celebrate as if it's a festival or a holiday for them. So Rasulullah ﷺ asked, because he used to fast that day in Mecca. So he wanted to know the relation. Why do the kuffar of Mecca used to fast and the Jews in Medina used to fast? So he asked them, he said, what is significant that made you fast on that day and celebrate and take such a day as a festival that your women wear gold, your kids wear good clothes, and you celebrate? What is the celebration for? They said, this is the day that Allah has saved Musa, the Prophet and his people, from the Fir'aun, the Pharaoh and his people, and that day Allah has drowned the Pharaoh and his followers or his soldiers. Here is a lesson that we must take, especially today. Today, I mean the day that we are in right now, the 31st, when we have Muslims who want to celebrate Halloween. When we have Muslims who want to send their kids out to collect candy, like we became so cheap that we can't buy them candy. We want our kids to celebrate, to feel the happiness, because the kuffar, they celebrate in Halloween, which has to do with the spirit of the dead, that they believe they come back, therefore they dress like them. So they will be mixed in with the souls. And as Muslims, we believe that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who knows about the souls, where do they go and how do they live. When we want Muslims to celebrate, Rasulullah wanted this ummah to be unique, to be someone special. So he said to them, you fast that day because Allah has saved Musa from Fir'aun. They said, yes. What did Rasulullah say? He said a statement that we must use, not only because nowadays people want to celebrate today as Halloween, and the 10th they want to celebrate Ashura because of the killing of the Imam, the Shahin, Al-Sayyid, Al-Husayn rahimahullah wa radiyallahu anhu. They want to celebrate because his killing, which we should be saying the same statement that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about the Yahud. Rasulullah said, you have more right to Musa than they do, so fast that day. You have more right. You are in the true religion. You're following the true prophet, the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have sent to believe not only in him, but in all the other books that was revealed before him. All the other prophets that came before Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That if one of us would not believe in Musa alayhi salam, his faith would not be completed. He would not be considered a Muslim. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, brothers, come closer inshallah, fill the gaps inshallah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to the Muslims, he said, if they fast because Allah saved Musa alayhi salam, and we believe in Musa alayhi salam, we respect Musa alayhi salam, we follow Musa alayhi salam, we love Musa alayhi salam, then we have the right to fast that day. We have the right to Musa more than them. They have corrupted the religion. They changed their aqidah and their belief. So they claim that they love Musa and they're not following his deen. Because if Musa himself would to be alive, he would follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they're not following Musa alayhi salam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you, to the Sahaba and to the Ummah, you have more right to Musa than all of them. Well, I tell you as Ahl Sunnah, we have more right to respect and to love and to feel sorry for the killing of Al-Husayn ibn Ali radiallahu anhu. More than those people who celebrate his killing and they hit themselves and they do things that is innovation and against the Sunnah and against the belief of the Muslim. We have more rights of Al-Husayn, Al-Sayyid, Al-Imam, Al-Shahid, Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, like the Prophet ﷺ said, he will be the leader of the youth in the day of judgment in paradise. We have more right to love and to understand what happened to Al-Husayn ibn Ali, which inshallah I will make a lecture tonight about the killing of Al-Imam Al-Husayn rahimahullah wa radiyallahu anhu. And we say we have more right to love and we have more right to Al-Husayn than anyone else because we respect Rasulullah, the people of Rasulullah, his house, his family, his companions. So we have more right to love Al-Husayn more than anyone who celebrates the 10th of Ashura and all the innovations that the people do. The Prophet ﷺ said, you have more right to Musa. Therefore, Rasulullah wanted the Sahaba to be different. Wanted the Sahaba to be different, he said, لو أحياني الله عز وجل إلى العام المقبل لأصومن التاسعة والعاشر وفي رواية لأصومن يوما قبله ويوما بعده. The Prophet said, to make this ummah unique, to make this ummah different from anyone else, he said, if Allah, or if I would to live till the next year, or the coming year, I would fast a day before Ashura, the 10th, and a day after. The correct, most authentic narration, Al-Bukhari and Muslim, that the ulama agreed upon, the majority said, that the statement said, I will fast the 9th and the 10th of Muharram of the coming year. The coming year came and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was dead. Ibn Hajar wal-Qurtubi wa Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said that fasting the day of Ashura are on levels, different ranks. The highest rank, the highest level is to fast the 9th, which will be this Sunday, the 10th, which will be this Monday, and the 11th, which will be Tuesday. These 3 days you fast all of them. If you can, then fast the 9th Sunday and the 10th, which will be Monday. If you can, then fast the 10th, which will be the day of Muharram. So the highest level is fasting the 3 days, after that fasting 2 days, after that fasting 1 day. If you fast the 10th of Muharram only, look at the bounty of Allah. How our year ends and how our year starts. Their year ends by smoking and drinking, celebrating and dancing. Women are being naked, they're celebrating the new year. And they drink, they become drunk, and they cause problems in the cities. And look how our year ends. Our year ends with the pilgrimage, with Hajj, with 10 days of Muharram, with the day of Arafah that we fast in ibadah and worshipping Allah. And our new year starts by Muharram, the sacred month which we worship Allah. In it, Rasulullah said, the day of Arafah, Allah will wipe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expiate a year of sins. The year that it passed and the year that is coming. 2 years of sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will wipe it for you. Allah will clear these sins for you. And the year starts by 1 day you fast. The 10th of Muharram, Ashura. Not because of the celebration of the death of anyone. Imam al-Husayn with the respect and the love. Not the celebration of the death of anyone else. It's caused because Rasulullah said, if you fast the 10th of Muharram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive 1 year of sins. Ibn Hajar said, complete year of sins will be wiped out. The minor sins and the major, he said, I ask Allah that it will be reduced, meaning the sin will be reduced if you fast 1 day, which is the 10th of Ashura, that is the coming Monday, to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be different from those who celebrate, from the Jews and the Christians, if they still do, to fast the 9th and the 10th, which is the most authentic, and you could follow that by one more day, because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, fasting in general is a shield between you and the sins, and if a person fasted one day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, باعد الله عز وجل بينه وبين النار 70 خريفا, وفي رواية ما بين السماوات والأرض. If you fast one day for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase the distance between you and hellfire as a distance of 70 years. Some narration says it will be the distance of between earth and heavens. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the bounties and the virtue of these days, so take care of them because Allah has ordered you to do so, and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have ordered you to do so, and Rasulullah himself have done it, so do it. Follow the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to gain such a reward, such a virtue and a bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Some of the acts that some people do in Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, and inshallah again the reminder tonight instead of the seerah, we'll be talking about the historical event that took place in the 10th of Muharram, the killing of the Imam al-Hussein radiallahu anhu. This is something major that happened in Islamic history that Muslims must know, understand, and be aware of. But there are some innovations, some things that people do on the day of Ashura that has nothing to do with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that have nothing to do with the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First, people believe that in that day, women must use the henna to decorate and celebrate. People believe that if that day, if you're being generous to your family, Allah will be generous to you. People believe that if you fast that day, you will not have a sickness for the rest of the year. People believe that in the day of Ashura, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and this is not a hadith, this is a fabricated statement to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, يقول أو كما روي عنه قال من وسع على أهله يوم عاشوراء وسع الله عليه سائر العام. وقالوا أنه من اغتسل يوم عاشوراء لم يمرض ذلك العام ومن اكتحل يوم عاشوراء لم يرمد ذلك العام. The hadith that the people take as a statement and they use, and we have seen these celebrations and we have seen these acts and be aware of, that people say that the Prophet said, they claim that Rasulullah said, and this statement is fabricated. It's not narrated to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Said that if a person takes a shower in the day of Ashura, he will not be sick for the rest of the year. That if a woman or a person uses kuhl on their eyes, they won't have an eye disease or eye sickness for the rest of the year. That if people are being generous to their family and they feed them and they give them enough celebration on that day, Allah will be generous to them for the rest of the year. All of these statements are fabricated. All these statements have no relation to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The only act that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did on the day of Ashura and the companions did were they fasted and they got their kids to practice fasting with them. تقول الربيع رضي الله عنها كنا في زمان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نصوم العاشرة من شهر الله المحرم ويصوم أبناؤنا معنا نأخذهم إلى المساجد ونفعل لهم الدمى يلعبون بها حتى نشغلهم عن الصيام. This is the practice of the companions. And look at the difference between the practice of the companion on the day of Ashura, a day of celebration, and the practice of a Muslim on a day like today, which is Halloween. The practice of the Sahaba, that they say we used to train our kids to fast the day of Ashura, that we will create a doll for them to play with in the masjid. So we'll bring them with us to the masjid, bring them a doll to play, and so it could keep them distracted from the hunger till Maghrib time, and we'll break our fast together. This is the act of our Sahaba. Our role model, or the act of the others, that they dress like devils. The devil's worshippers takes this day, which is Halloween today, to be the day of worshiping. the day that they believe is the most to worship the devil in. And we have Muslims going begging for candy, trick or treat. We have the same belief that if the soul could harm, and we know that there is no harm except by Allah. We have the belief that if we don't give, we will be harmed by those souls or those evil souls. If we don't give candy out, therefore we have candy prepared in our house for the kids who go and knock on the door to ask for, because we give them, we don't want to reject it. We have Muslims who celebrate that they get their kids to dress up like devils, like shayateen. And Allah warned us from the shayateen. We're running, and then we say our kids are acting weird. Well, you have dressed them like shaitan. You have dressed them in an evil way. And what do you expect him when he grows up to be? A shaitan? What you plant is what you gain. Today, there is no celebration. Our celebration, Rasulullah said, Allah have replaced you with 2 days, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. One comes after Ramadan, one comes after the Hajj, the pilgrimage, which we must celebrate, we must feel the enjoyment, and get our kids to practice and celebrate, and feel that enjoyment that we tell them. We have our days that we respect and we love. We have our festival that we celebrate and we respect, but it has to do with the religion. It has to do with the ibadah. It has to do with the belief, not it has to do with the devils and the shayateen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbid all of us from acting or resembling the kuffar, what Rasulullah said, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." Whoever resembles people, whoever acts like someone, or takes someone as a role model, he will be resurrected with him, he will be like him. So may Allah forbid us from acting like those who have changed their religion, those who have committed wrong, those who are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have called them al-maqdubi alayhim, those Allah are angry with, and those who are being misguided. أسأل الله عز وجل أن يثبتنا وإياكم على الدين. اللهم ثبتنا على الإيمان حتى نلقاه. اللهم ثبتنا على الإيمان حتى نلقاه. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما، واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما، ولا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا يا ربنا شقيا ولا محروما. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله عز وجل لي ولكم فاستغفروه من كل ذنب إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك، نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت، نستغفرك ونتوب إليك، وأقم الصلاة.